Hi everyone, welcome to Safari Live, broadcasting to you from the Kunyuma, beautiful Kunyuma Game Reserve in Sabi Sands here in South Africa. I'm Hayden Turner.
Good afternoon, I'm Peter Pretorius.
And thank you so much for joining us. It's a really fantastic thing to have you on board. And we are here on this beautiful reserve. There are a couple of rain clouds in our midst, Pete, so we have to watch that this afternoon.
Drops earlier, but I think for now we're good.
The temperature is quite warm. It's about 34 degrees Celsius, and I forget what that is in Fahrenheit, but
93.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Just over the 90s.
Yeah, so we're really going to try and find what we can today. This morning was just incredible, wasn't it, mate?
It was, especially since the start of this man here. Don't hide there, Viam. Viam spotted the first wildebeest, the second wildebeest, 2 live births, one after the other. Aptly named after Viam the wildebeest and Brian the wildebeest, the 2 camera guys that are with us on the team. And yeah, it was a spectacular morning. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it really
the
was,
kind of thing you see a few times in your life.
Oh, it was incredible. And it was really good that we waited it out. It was suspense in the beginning. The first one, we had hyenas coming up behind as well, and then she went off into the vegetation. We didn't think we were going to see it after waiting for an hour. But it all came to the end quite beautifully, and we saw 2 incredible things. We're not sure if it was a world first, but we think it's a nice feeling to think it was.
Well, they've looked around and they've checked, and as far as they can see, it seems to be the first live birth.
Yeah.
And certainly the first one where there's 2 of them. So yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Pretty cool.
Absolutely fantastic. So we're really looking forward to this afternoon. It's quite warm still, so most of our predators will probably be held up in the shade and in the cool. We're going to have a little tootle around off down this way. Pete, you're going to stay around this area?
Stick around here for now. We haven't seen, well, we saw tracks this morning, 2 tracks. But I still believe that leopard is around here somewhere. So I'm going to stick around a little bit and see what happens. Also with all the activity this morning, I'm going to stick around a little bit.
Yeah.
And we saw something down that way earlier, which, oh, there it is.
It was rather big and grey with a long thing hanging off its front there. Yeah.
So we'll have a look at that for a bit.
The other thing that we have to catch up on, which we've had so much going on that we need to follow up on a bit more, and I did last night but couldn't find him, was that hippo. And that hippo was quite, was in a bad way, and we all know that, but we're not sure where he's gone. So I'm going to just go down and see if I can see any tracks going across road where he's left and just pick up on that.
You're going Treehouse Dam, Twin Dams, that direction?
Yeah. Okay.
I want to be around here, and then maybe Buffelshoek Dam later on. We haven't seen something there for a while. We haven't been there much. So.
All right. We'll probably catch up.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Enjoy,
take care.
have fun.
Be safe.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll catch up with you just now, and I'll leave you in the capable hands of Brian, the wildebeest's father, Brian, and Pete. Take care, guys. We'll see you just now.
All right. Well, as we mentioned there, let me get my earpiece in. There's an elephant just down there. You could see him quite clearly earlier, but he's just gone into the brush a bit, but I'm sure we'll find him. It is the largest land mammal after all. And then on a sort of a secondary line, I know from the beginning Brian's been very keen to see an impala birth, so who knows, maybe we can get that this afternoon. There's herd of impala that live here on the quarantine area, which is this area we're in now. They have also started getting their lambs. There's about 3 or 4 in the herd. I'm not sure, there's probably about 60 or 70 females in the herd. So they also will be giving birth, sort of almost daily for the next few days. Impala a little bit more tricky. Blue wildebeest, of course, like this open environment, to the open terrain. Impala, they do like to, if the herd's in the open, the one having the baby will go off normally into a little bit of cover, just somewhere that is not so visible. So not as easy to find, but we'll keep an eye out. This is such a great time of the year, this sort of when summer becomes active. Nice and hot. Very hot weather predicted towards the weekend. I mean, seriously hot, over the 100 Fahrenheit, 36, 38. The one prediction which is scaring us at the moment is 48, but we're going to keep an eye on that one. Maybe it changes. In short, it's summer, and there's lots happening in the bush. Some impalas. Very visible markings when they're moving away from you. The black metatarsal glands at the back of the feet. The 3 black lines on the back side. And of course, if they run, suddenly that tail flashes up and you've got a very white flash of the tail, and that's a clear indication to other impalas which way you're running, but also to a predator that there's impalas running everywhere, and it can cause a little bit of confusion sometimes, just enough to help them get away. But this one is very pregnant, or very far along. Actually, all of them are, all the females. And lots of bird sounds, the red-chested cuckoo in the background. That sort of screeching sound you just heard, that's from a francolin, called a coqui francolin. They're all coming out here on the right hand side, Brian. They've been all in the bushes, so pretty much waiting the afternoon. It was quite hot, getting out of the sun a bit, and now they just all sort of came walking out here. There's a little footpath that they were following, so they sort of all came out in single file. Those are younger ones, the two smaller ones there. They would be almost exactly a year old, to the week or two from, you know, before or after today. They would have been born last year this time. Now, it's not unheard of that these antelope can have their own lambs after the first year, but normally only the second year. Springbuck, one of the antelopes that can sometimes have the young very, very soon, but normally in their second year they will have their own, or their first offspring themselves. So we might swing back past this herd every now and again, just to see what they're up to. But I see a big grey thing. Let's go have a closer look at him. I recognize straight away. There you can see him coming up. Only got one tusk. He's got a nice big notch in his left bottom ear. We'll look at that just now. Seems he's alone. Quite often these bulls are in groups of sort of 2 or 3 small groups, but quite often alone as well. I mean, they don't really need to concern themselves with predators and that kind of thing. So a couple of things that's very obvious about him as you're approaching. One of those would be that he has only one tusk. I think I mentioned he's a bull, and you know that from the fact that he's got a very large skull, being probably in his early 30s, mid 30s maybe. And then there might be 1 or 2 other obvious indications at the moment as well. He's in quite relaxed mood, not too bothered by us. Remember, if you have any questions or want to mention anything, you're welcome to let us know. Tweet us at #SafariLive, or you can email into questions@wildearth.tv. You can see that slight secretion there from the temporal gland, just sort of between the eye and the ear. Typically that's associated with elephant bulls in musk, but then you get a heavy secretion, as well as a lot of penile dribbling and different behavior as well. And this case probably just because of this heat. When elephants are a little bit stressed is maybe the wrong word, but when they're under a little bit of duress, maybe because of heat or because of social conditions, maybe something had happened. And we also get the secretions. Beautiful sky there as well. Sun rays coming through. Awesome. I thought he might be around. Guys, go join HD. I might join you there in a bit and enjoy what he's got to find. It's more fun than an elephant even.
Okay folks, we've just come to this water point just here. Oh, I love this place. I love this place. And we've got leopard. Not only have we got leopard, but we've got the hippo that we lost as well. So we're going to talk about the leopard first. But we've definitely got leopard just here somewhere. I'm not sure what individual it is. Let's just move down gently, gently, and see who it is. There he is. Can you see him? Just there, walking through. I'm just going to reverse up this way a little bit. I'm just going to drive through this little gap here. Now, if we wait patiently here, my friends, this leopard has just dropped himself down into this little hollow right near this water point. He's definitely hunting. I can't see who it is. I'm just going to look through my binoculars and see if I can get some sort of recognition. It may be one of Karula's offspring that we saw recently, so he's holed up down there. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. I just can't see his face at the moment, but the other day when we came down here and we came across an individual that we couldn't confirm who it was, he took off very, very quickly. So this particular leopard seems to be a bit more conditioned with us, so we are definitely going to sit here. He is waiting for something to come down to this water point. Look at that.
It's a male.
Roll down a little bit, folks, so we can get a bit better picture for you. We're thinking it's Kunyuma, but we've just got to have a really good look at the face and ID him. Isn't this just fantastic? 10 minutes into the drive, folks. 10 minutes in, and on this magnificent reserve we've got leopard that's very, very casually sitting there waiting for something to come to this water point. And also, to make it a double winner for me, that hippo. Pretty certain it's Kunyuma. Pretty certain. Now I'm just going to make a call to some other radios just to make sure we I can just hear Pete actually doing that for me, which is brilliant. Let's just watch. Let's just carefully watch what he's up to. This is beautiful. So he's definitely waiting for something, an opportunity to arise. Okay folks, we're just going to cross back to Peter and we're going to check out, I think he's got an elephant really close to him back there. This beautiful leopard is going to sit put for a while and wait for an opportunity to arise, and as soon as anything happens we'll be right back with you. I'll see you soon.
As welcome back to the jigger this side. Awesome having a leopard there at Treehouse Dam. Still hot, so leopard not doing too much, but I'm sure if there's movement we'll have a look at him. I'm very curious to know who it is actually. This elephant's really close. In fact, just now he was so close, he came up right here in front of the car and he picked a little shrub almost underneath the car. More to have a look, he was having a close look inside. A really nice elephant. We like his feel. It's nice and relaxed and a little bit curious and very gently just doing his thing. Got good markings, well, obviously the tusk that's missing, but also on the ear itself, quite a few chips and notches. And on the left hand side here, you can actually see it underneath there. He's got a big sort of open notch, I presume from a tusk long ago that punched a hole in it, and maybe later along the way the hole became a tear or it tore out. So you get some elephants with really big markings on the ears, and the ears are normally what you use for IDing them as well. It's almost like a fingerprint. Every ear is unique if you look at all the little markings along the edges. We're going to stick with him a little bit. Reach it. Brian's just going to grab something that slipped off the vehicle. That's quite a reach, huh? Sure what this elephant's plan is. He's just sort of feeding around, no specific direction. I would guess maybe making his way down towards the water later on. It has been very hot. Elephants need to drink ideally once a day at least. They can go 2-3 days without water if need be, but it's not ideal. And if water's around, they'll drink often twice a day or 3 times a day. I can see this guy had a mud bath already earlier. He's not wet anymore, but on his back there's still 1 or 2 patches of mud. But again, when it's hot like this, a mud bath, a swim, it goes a long way towards cooling down a big animal like this. Let's see if he maybe comes and have a little squiz at us again. He seemed very inquisitive earlier. Hey, I like this guy. Still eating. Again, he decided, he chose to turn this way, so there is a little bit of curiosity as well involved, and let's see what he does. The ear flapping is purely to cool himself down. It's very hot, as we mentioned earlier, about 34 degrees, around about 90 Fahrenheit, a little bit over or under. It is really hot, and that's why he's fanning the ears like that, cooling the blood down. There's no aggression whatsoever with the ears like that. It would be a very different posture if there was a sort of a message for us. Well, it's always nice when the afternoon starts off with a sort of a bang, if you know what I mean. There's lots of things happening. Elephant, let's see if he gives us a quick last head shake. But keep in mind, we're looking for that injured hippo, and he's there as well as the leopard. So lots going on with Hayden as well. Just quickly see what this guy's doing. He's just having a look. Okay. So yeah, enjoy the leopard, and we'll see you back here again just now.
This is incredible, folks. This is absolutely incredible. We're just sitting here with Kunyuma, the leopard, and we've also got the really injured hippo that we've been looking for to see if he was still okay, and he's looking a bit worse for wear just to our left here. VM's just about to pan around and have a little look at him. The wounds are very, very severe, particularly that one on his right shoulder. He wasn't here last night, but we've been looking for him for about 24 hours, and yep, he's back in this water point. At least he's in a safe place, but he may have gone out and fed. So his vigour doesn't look very, very good at all. He looks very flat, and he's probably struggling. But as we talked about last night, really important to know that he's an old bull. He's probably past his prime, well past his prime. You can see by the spinal column there on his back and those prominent back hips. He's getting on, and yeah. We weren't sure if his last days were yesterday, but sure enough, we come back down to this water point, which is one of my favourite places on Juma, Treehouse Dam, and you just never know what's around the next corner. And never in my wildest dreams, when I just left Pete there, did I think I was going to come around the corner, find this old injured hippo back in his water point, and a magnificent male leopard sitting right about 30 metres in front of the vehicle at the moment. Wow. This is what Safari Live's all about. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's around the next corner. And I am having a guess that Kunyuma is hunting. He's just gotten up to move, so we might go. Just watch what he does here. He might drop down into that little hollow, get some cover. Yep, he's going to go and hide in there. And that's a fantastic place for him to sit, because any animals approaching will not see him there. This is quite an extraordinary position to be sitting in, folks. The interesting thing about that is that shot there that you can see in your screen. You could drive past here and not even know a leopard was there, so it's quite often we drive past things and you just would never know. This hippo now is starting to come out of the water, which is interesting for a hippo at this time of the day. It's a very, very severe wound on his shoulder there. He is just trying to get as much rest and recovery as he possibly can, but I don't hold a huge amount of hope for him at the moment, just because, being realistic, that shoulder wound is so severe that it'll probably play a very, very detrimental role on his future. It is quite nasty, and all those other scars you can see on him. He's a really battle-scarred hippo. He's been around, and as we said again yesterday, the positive side is that he's probably been a really successful hippo. So he's probably sired lots of little hippos and defended a territory for a long time. But at the moment he's just getting rest and some sort of soothing from that cool mud and in the water. We did have a question yesterday about the oxpeckers, the birds that are on him. They normally do quite a great job to most animals by removing blood-filled parasites from them, but in this particular instance it's just aggravating his wound. That's the little bird that's just peeking his head above his eye there. It's a red-billed oxpecker, and we see them on a lot of the hoofed animals, and they will be removing parasites, and sometimes, not always, only when the animal's got a wound will they be aggravating it. So it does give him a little bit of discomfort there, and he flicks his tail up and splashes water over them when they get there and they move off. This is quite an extraordinary position to be in, folks. We've got a story that's unfolded over the last few days. Pete picked up this hippo down at one of the other dams, Vitella Dam, when he was trying to get into the water there, but then came across the dominant bull down there, which pushed him off. I'm pretty sure, as far as the story we can gather, he didn't succumb to those wounds from that bull. He must have had another confrontation on another dam, and he was trying to seek some form of protection on the dam Vitella, and then he came across that bull. That bull pushed him out of that one, and then now we found him on quarantine, standing there with quite severe wounds. It was really, really hard to look at. He was in a bad way, but now he's gotten into the water. Most of the hippo injuries that occur, they can heal in the water. They've got quite an incredible healing ability. It's quite a severe one. And he ended up in this dam, and we came across him, not yesterday, but the day before, I think, in the evening. And then yesterday we came back, we couldn't find him, and this morning we couldn't find him. I looked for his tracks on the roads going around this particular area and couldn't find them, but he's gone off just into the acacia woodland here, and who knows what, he might have fed a little bit, hopefully, and now he's come back to the safety of this water point, Treehouse Dam. But he's also got company, and we've got Kunyuma the leopard. I'm pretty certain it's Kunyuma, and he's hiding in that little hollow over there. So when we arrived, the kudu, which are beautiful antelope that occur in the area, we've seen loads of them, they were sounding off an alarm call, and he knew that his chances with them had passed, so he got up and repossessioned himself. So we might just sit patiently in here and wait, folks. I don't really want to put my vehicle too much closer because it's going to stop any animals coming down to drink, and we'd like to just wait this out for a little bit, if that's all right. If you can tweet us email us and just give me a bit of feedback on what you'd like to do. I'm happy to sit here as always, but if you can let me know, that'd be fantastic, and I'll get Alex, the master of number crunching in that final control room, for me to give me a bit of a percentage on what you'd like to do. So I might just stay here for the moment and just see what happens, folks. We know that that leopard is in there, and I'd like to not intrude on that, just for the simple reason that I think I would hate to move him. He's in a fantastic little covert position there. I don't think any animals are going to see him coming down, and he'll have all his senses on high alert right now for anything that gives him an opportunity. We just had a question from Pup Equality on Twitter, and you've asked how long what a hippo's lifespan is. There's a lot of contributing factors to that. I've been in some parts of Africa where the competition is quite high, the battles are much more frequent, the concentration of hippos on the river have been extraordinarily high, so there was a lot shorter lifespan there, because they would come into either conflict with another bull or potentially other predators, but predators really don't take hippos of this size, that's for sure. They'd be only probably attempting to do that if an animal was in this condition. So if it was an adult male or female hippo, they'd be very, very unlikely to attack, but youngsters do get taken occasionally ferociously. But
start and end your day on safari. Every day, twice a day through January 31st, join a real African safari live online. Come face to face with lions.
Contend with that have definitely reached 40 to 50 years, and this one I would be guesstimating sort of in the 30s, but it's very, very hard to tell. We'd have to look at lots of different things, teeth and everything, but he's definitely lived a full life by the battles he's been through, and probably protected many a territory and many a water point, a pond or a dam or a river. But yeah, he's in a little bit of a bad way. Folks, we're getting a lot of questions on Twitter about whether Kunyuma, the leopard that we're in the presence of as well, that we can't see right at the moment, but we know he's in that little hole over to our right. Well, would Kunyuma attempt to go for the hippo? The answer to that is pretty categorical, and it's a no. He wouldn't go for a live hippo. If the hippo did pass away, then there would be a potential, who knows, that he might investigate that. Very, very thick hide as well to get through, but we just don't know. There's always exceptions to the rule with this wonderful world that we live in when it comes to wildlife. There's always extraordinary instances where we see things that we'd never expect or we've never really seen before or never been documented. But to answer your questions, whilst that animal's alive, he's still got a lot of fight in him, in the sense that he'd be a very, very serious opponent for a leopard, and a leopard would never go for a hippo. Okay, I'm just going to see what Pete's up to, and see if I can just talk to control and see if Pete's he's with something at the moment, because I'd like to sit with this leopard for a little bit, if that's okay. But just stand by for me, everyone. Okay, I've just had a message back from Will in control, and Will's just going to have a chat with Pete, see where he is, and we might cross over to Pete, because I'm really keen to see what happens on this location. Okay folks, we've just had a message from control that Pete is looking for Brian the wildebeest calf and VM the beast, or VM the wildebeest, out on the quarantine area at the moment. So we're going to cross to Pete, and I'll come back to you as soon as anything happens here. But I assure you, as soon as we get a tweak of leopard, we'll be right back. See you soon.
Well, we're still looking around. We're still in the general proximity of Waiitela Lodge, slightly to the sort of northeast at the moment. We're just doing a circuit around it, and it's partly a hunch combined with I always used to say it's an educated guess. It's like there's no definite specific reasons why I think this leopard is around here, other than we had a track this morning, 2 specific tracks. And there was a little bit of monkey alarm calling earlier today down here towards the lodge. Now there might be other things causing it, but normally when they call, 8 out of 10 times it's because of leopard. But as I was just chatting with Brian as well, it is very thick here. This is the drainage line system. There's a whole network of little riverbeds and things. So even if he is here, still be a bit of luck required to find him. And I think it's Kunyuma. I mean, it's Kunyuma has been around for the last couple of days. The track this morning was him. Maybe Karula. It's tricky at this age. The males, their tracks are not that much bigger than the female, and maybe at the end of our time here, then you can tell the individual's tracks very easily. But at the moment, I've got to gauge it by size. And obviously by knowing who is around. Very curious to know which leopard HT has got there. My guess earlier was maybe quarantine, but I don't know if it's male or female. See, maybe he moves later on. We are going to go look for those wildebeest again. I know a couple of you are wondering what's happened to them. We didn't see them on quarantine. I'll see if I can pick up their tracks. And see where they've headed. But from quarantine, there's a few places, Harry's Road, Philemon's Cut Line, where there's more clearings, and the Wildebeest, especially now when they're busy having their calves, they want to stick around the open places. That's where they're most comfortable. That's where the habitat that they feel most secure in. Love to get just even one more footprint, one more track. Stunning skies, little bits of all kinds of clouds almost. We had heavy sort of rain promising cumulonimbus clouds earlier. That broke up, had a bit of sunshine, sunrise coming through, or sun rays coming through, shall I say. Woodland kingfisher. Spoke about it this morning. They're not calling a lot yet. Soon it will be. Soon you'll hear them calling the whole time. But the first ones have arrived, and they are very much a part of summertime in the Lowveld. But we'll see one maybe today, but certainly in the next few days. Beautiful kingfisher, beautiful call. Just heard one far away just now. We looked at elephant earlier. This just gives you a clear indication that there was an elephant not even that long ago. I think this is probably in the last couple of weeks. This is a red bush willow, and quite often they push trees over, sometimes to get to the twigs at the top, but in this case you can see all these roots that came out. They were eating that. And you find that especially in the dry season, or at the end of the dry season before the rains come, they eat a lot of roots. Although you find it in the summertime as well. When it's raining they also do that. It just depends on what they feel like. This tree will actually keep on growing. Enough roots left in the ground that it'll keep on growing, make some new shoots maybe, sort of change the profile of the tree a little bit relative to the sunlight available. The tree won't die. In fact, by the look of it, it happened maybe a few years ago. I'm looking at those, at that sort of main branch. That's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that. This branch in the front was a tree before, got pushed over, then you had those new shoots growing out, they got pushed over, so now you'll have something else growing out again that way. So it's like a changing, ever-changing work of art. Warthog tail through the back, our antenna out the back, which enables you to join us in the bush. typical zebra habitat you'd expect to find them in. They do like the open areas, but we are very close to quarantine, so they probably just came up here getting some fresh grass. More than likely these guys, as it gets closer towards sunset, in the next hour or so, they will start heading towards quarantine, this open area again. Zebras, like wildebeest, they prefer sleeping in a relatively open area where they can see and where they can run. Try a little bit and see if we can't find VM and Brian. Those are the names we gave the two wildebeest that we saw this morning, or that we saw being born this morning, shall I say. And like the zebra, maybe just a little bit in the thick stuff here somewhere, do some grazing, get out the sun, and I would expect them to make their way back onto this area again anywhere in the next sort of hour or so towards sunset. Go back to our elephant. What do you think, Brian? Hey?
Is he still here?
Yeah. I spy something with my little eye. It starts with an E. Or an L. If I was to say an L and refer to the elephant, what would that be? Who knows what the scientific name is for an elephant? That's actually quite a nice view. Yeah. Or the Winnie the Pooh name. It's like a nice little picture frame there. We'll go closer to him just now. Let's just have a look at him from here. The same guy that we started the drive with. One tusk and that big sort of open notch in his ear. He looks a little bit different from the way we saw him at first this afternoon. I think maybe the light has changed or something like that. I'm loving this view, that's beautiful. Still just lazily grazing along, or he's not really grazing, he's grazing and browsing. He was eating a lot of these tiny young acacias that shoot out now when the rain starts, or with a bit of rain and also with the season starting. He was eating that earlier. I think it's still what he's eating. So he's actually eating leaves and twigs, but just plucking it right off the ground. Let's go closer. There you can see what he's eating. So I think he's going this way. Keeping with his foot, he's going to sit on the other side. It's just these tiny little acacias that sort of are on ground level. There you go, we spotted with our little eye something that starts with an L. Gerda just letting us know, Loxodonta africana. The Latin name, of course, referring to the African elephant. And the Loxodonta part actually refers to the shapes of the ridges on the teeth. And we're not talking about the tusks, we're talking about the call it the molars if you want, the teeth inside the mouth that they chew with. They have these lozenge shape sort of ridges on them. Look at how gently he was using his foot. So he gathers the twigs together, even with those thorns on it, rolls a trunk around it, and then as he wraps the trunk around it, he gets the thorns flattened a bit, and then crook with the foot. Clearly see that he's done that once or twice before. Baby elephant, you often see them learning techniques even when they're older. I mean, the first months, obviously a lot of new things for them to learn, but even when they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, they're still learning certain techniques of how to break off certain foods or how to dig things out. I've seen elephants go right down on their front legs and then put the tusk into the ground and dig out little plants and things that they like to eat, or roots that they like. So they can be very specific as to what they eat. And some plants or some of the foods, you have to have a particular way of getting it. You know, breaking a branch in such a way that you can strip the bark off, or that kind of thing. It's amazing how dexterous and how coordinated they are, actually, if you look at the things they can do with that trunk or the tusks. Toenails again. Such a great view of this elephant. Looking at his skull, firstly it's a bull, he's got that nice rounded forehead. The females have got a much squarer head. And then Philip just asking, hello Philip. Philip Matlock asking, how old is this bull? It's always difficult to say exactly because you have to actually look inside the mouth at those teeth we were just talking about to get exact ages. But you look at the body size of the animal, the skull, the head size, the tusks, and you sort of build a combined picture out of that. I would say this guy is probably in his maybe early 30s at the most, late 20s at the least. So I would put him somewhere between 29 and 32 if I had to put an age to him. So let's say 31. Could be out by a year or two. It does vary a little bit. Some elephants are taller than other ones. The tusks grow a bit faster. There's genetic things that play a role, condition of the animal. But this guy he's getting to that stage where he's going to start bulking up. He's not massively bulky yet, but that's coming normally in your mid-30s. Oh, love it when they do that. That was amazing, actually, as the light came out. Beautiful light in his face as well, all that texture around the eye. He might come over to us actually and have a look. They sometimes come right up and they'll open the eye and sort of look into the vehicle. This is a slightly different vehicle for him than what he's used to, just with the camera and things on it. So he might be a bit curious. He did a little bit of this earlier as well when we started with him. Just feeding over in our direction, have a little look, and then move on again. Actually, what is he eating? That's not very usual what he's eating. This tree is a jackalberry. Not a typical tree that they eat. But they do eat a very, very, very wide variety of vegetation. He's enjoying this one. See if he comes for a look. That's great. Really looked at us there. Oh, such amazing light now. obviously keep you updated on the other vehicle there with HT. He's still with the leopard. It is still fast asleep. It's nice and warm. I don't think the leopard's in too much of a hurry. It's next to a waterhole. But if anything happens, we are going to stick with it. We'll get you straight back to HT as soon as the leopard becomes a little bit more active. I think I know what Brian is. Oh no, he's thinking of the foot. I thought you were looking at the tail. Because it was a Jason the other day. Jason was on camera the other day, and we had an elephant that we called Rafi on Rafi's birthday. Beautiful elephant, really nice interaction as well. And one of the things Jason mentioned was that elephant had very little hair in his tail. This elephant has got a rather hairy tail, slightly more hairy than average. See, the shadows are getting longer, the sun is getting lower. It's always a good part of the day in the bush, that sort of the last hour going down towards sunset. And we have a particularly stunning afternoon. That sky in the background, beautiful golden lights from this side. And I think let me just try and see, we parked behind a bush here, but the western horizon for the moment is not too heavily overcast, so I think we might have a bit of a proper sort of golden hour this afternoon. So close to us now, you can hear him chewing. Okay, well, I think we're gonna wait for this Ellie just to move on a little bit and move around. I want to go look around again. I'm going to keep doing a few circuits of this area. I do have a feeling there's another leopard around. And while we're speaking of leopard, a bit of an update from HT. Have a look at what's going on that side, and we'll see you back here again in a little bit.
Welcome back, folks. We are still sitting with Kunyuma, and he hasn't done a great deal. He's resting in. The sun's suddenly sort of burst its head through, so the temperatures, it's quite muggy and very, very hot in the sunshine. He's down in that cool little hollow there, and a big Nyala bull came down to the water point, and he didn't pay much attention to it. I think it was a little bit big for him, and it was on the other side of the dam as well. So we just sat here, and we've just positioned ourselves in a really nice location. We've got our eyes glued to him. Any indication that he's going to pay interest to potential prey coming down to the water point, we'll be right on him. But there's a lot of other things going around on the waterhole at the moment as well. Now I just want to show you this beautiful bird up in this tree. VM will just pan up gently. I've got my eyes on Kunyuma as well, but he is a gorgeous bird. Have a look at him. It's just such a nice setting, beautiful backdrop as well, and lovely, lovely backdrop there. Lovely, lovely bird. That is a grey heron. Fantastic bird, beautiful looking creature, and I just thought that was such a beautiful backdrop. The sky's sort of got a bit of storm clouds in the background, and it does look really beautiful. They normally inhabit wetland sort of areas or around dams or ponds, and they're just a gorgeous, gorgeous looking bird. Mostly got that white head, and they've got a beautiful black eye stripe across there as well. They're another common resident, and many of the birds that we have done are common residents, and that's the reason why we started off with common residents, is because we see them more often and we can come back to them again and again. And it's just a nice way to get familiar with them. And they breed in colonies that are sort of in trees on around water points or in marshes. And they often, it's funny, sometimes you often see them sharing their nesting sites with egrets and other water birds like cormorants and things like that. So it is quite a vocal little place when you see all these birds nesting in the same tree. They're a beautiful bird. But with our friend here, our leopard friend, Kunyuma, he's definitely got himself in a position there where he's on a win-win. He's getting a little bit of rest in the cool there, but I think at any opportunity he would strike. So this is why I just want to stick with him. I want to stay put. Just a little head shake there. He's having a bit of a scratch now. Bit of a stretch. But there he is, hiding and resting. Look at that beautiful yawn. Oh yeah, that was beautiful. He's keeping his eyes open now. Another big beautiful yawn. Those fantastic canines. So I'm sure many people know, but for those who are a little bit unfamiliar with leopard, his most powerful attribute is not only his strength and power to weight ratio. He's probably the strongest of all cats if it's power to weight ratio, but it's definitely his ability to stalk. He is the king or the prince of stealth, and that's what their strongest and the key element to their hunts are. He's grooming himself beautifully. Those of you who've got domestic cats have probably seen this many a time. That beautiful grooming, preening behaviour. Such a beautiful, beautiful animal. And I haven't really had a chance to welcome any new Safari Live people to join us on the vehicle, and welcome to you. It's fantastic to have you on board, and for all our regular Safari participants, welcome back as always. We love having your support and your tweets and your emails, and it's really, really important to us, because that's what it's all about. It's really about this incredible opportunity to share the African bush with you live. There's nothing quite like it, nothing quite like I've ever done before, and something, the adrenaline just starts to, as soon as those cameras go live and Pete and I are off in the vehicles, your adrenaline's pumping, just because you don't know what's around that next corner. And sure enough, we came down to this water point, which we regularly come to, folks. We come down here often and there's nothing here. There might be a few beautiful birds. We don't see any mammals. And then another time you can come down and come across one of Mother Nature's finest examples of an apex predator. So he is grooming himself there. He's awake now, having a bit of a scratch. The afternoon shadows are lengthening. He's becoming a little bit more alert now. He's just keeping his eyes on this water hole. Definitely a lot more alert than he was about 15 minutes ago when you were with Pete. And I heard you had a fantastic encounter with an elephant over there, which is brilliant, because there's something really special about being up close and personal with that largest land mammal on the planet. It makes you, it's quite a humbling experience. Oh, he's a beautiful cat, isn't he? He is just magic. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Please.
Let's just see what he does here, folks, and see whether he just drops down in that vegetation and sits and waits, or whether we follow him. I just want to see what he gets up to. Isn't he magnificent? Okay. I think we need to just make a reposition here. Just see what he does. I want to see if he walks along the road and positions himself, sorry, by this water point, if he's going off a little bit further. Can't quite see him now, so let's follow on. Yeah. Let's just watch him, see what he gets up to. Now, I just have to always remind everyone that these animals are incredibly conditioned to the vehicles. They're conditioned to the engine noise, they're conditioned to the vehicles themselves, and you have to understand that we really, really do respect the animals' distance, and we just stay with them and watch them behaving perfectly. Just got to watch this tree here because it's going to get me. Just watch that tree now. Actually, I'm going to have to go around that. I'm going to pull off some of my leads. We've still got him, we're fine. Still see him up there. Got him now, well in our sights, there's no problems there. Just got to manoeuvre ourselves through the bush here. Country's been burnt out. There he is up there. Okay, that's just a little bit of manoeuvring around here, folks. just through there. Can you see him? You can see him, I can see him. We're really lucky the country's a little bit open for us here. Wasn't that beautiful light on him there? Oh, beautiful light. Just move up a little bit closer. Watch your head on this one, Liam. And have to turn around. It's too tricky to get through there. Take the one up there. Okay, we've still got him. Fine. A little bit tricky through here, folks. Sorry, buddy. Really thick through here, folks, so I'm really trying to negotiate our way through and keep an eye on him. Also, not lose my cameraman or my aerial. Can you see him, Liam? Can you see him from up there, mate? Hey?
I don't have him.
Don't have him? Okay, we'll get him. Let's keep looking through that way, please, mate. Really tricky to get through this country, folks, without losing part of our equipment, so we've just got to be careful here, but at the same time, these are what these vehicles are built for. There he is. We've got him back. Got him back. There he is. There he is. Just walking through there to the left. That's what these vehicles are built for. He's making his way. He might sit up on top of that termite mound if we're lucky. Get a little bit of a vantage point. I'm just going to move around this side. I tell you, when you're driving through this, you've got a leopard, it is just focus, focus, focus. You've got to find your way through. You've got to make sure you don't lose your cameraman, your aerial, yourself, and stay on this beautiful cat. Absolutely fantastic. We've got him just there. He's going to walk straight in front of us here. Definitely looks like he's looking for something. Isn't he just magnificent? Okay, I'm just going to move up around this couple of trees for us. The leopards on these reserves are so used to us. They really are. There's a couple that are a little bit less, but this boy here is definitely very used to us. He gives us a little bit of a when he looks into the camera lens sometimes, he gives us a little bit of a look that says, what is that big eye? And makes a little sort of a snarl face at us. Move down here. Moving into some really thick country here, folks, so I'm going to have to be a little bit tricky here and negotiate our way through here. We got him?
Behind this bush here.
Yeah, got him. Very difficult thing to see, but I think VM can just get him in shot just there, right through that vegetation. I have got a way out, so I can see I'm just planning my route forward if he starts to move. Now, he stopped in his tracks here. I can't see through the vegetation ahead of us. He's turned around. Okay. Got him, VM? He's just up there. Just bear with us, folks. He's moving onto a road now, so I've got a bit of access down the road here, which will make life a little bit easier for us. Okay. Can you see him, Van?
No.
I can see him. I can see him. Okay, now folks, he's really, really difficult to see, but I'm going to just try and let VM get down into position. See through, straight through there, mate. He's just walking now. You see him? Okay, VM's got him, and I can see what he's looking at. He's looking at some zebras. Now, I'm not sure what he's going to do here, or whether he's chosen to ignore them. We're just going to roll down here a little bit further. Can you see him, mate?
No.
I've lost him there. There he is, just there. Virginia on Twitter is saying that Kunyuma is playing Follow Me. Well, that's what I'm doing, and he's definitely relaxed about that. He's just up there waiting and waiting. Do you copy?
Right, well, welcome back here. Exciting stuff seeing Kunyuma. I think, as I said the other night, he's probably my new favorite leopard other than Karula. We just let's take this little track. Excuse me, I'm about to excuse me. Thank you. Oh, bright sunlight. I feel like a scrub here in the spotlight of a Land Rover. Oh, very bright sunlight. Stunning afternoon. Always nice to spend it with elephants and leopards and all the wildlife of Africa. Small track here that runs. Let's look at this bird. We hear them so often, we don't see them so often. Right in front of us there, the Natal Franklin. They're one of the sort of bush alarms. Start calling in the mornings early around sunrise. You hear them sometimes during the day a little bit, but especially now, sort of this last little bit of daylight going into evening, you hear them calling a lot. And like most birds, they're actually really beautiful, but you have to look at them. You have to see them either up close or through binoculars. You get so many little birds out here in the bush that once you look at them up close, only then do you realize how amazingly beautiful they are, the intricate patterns and the markings. One of the things about birds I've always enjoyed is the sounds, the different calls they make. They really do add the sort of life to the bush in terms of the, if you want to call it, the soundtrack. Always you can hear different birds calling, different sounds. I could hear a puffback strike just now. I can hear a grey lory, turtle doves, Burchell starling, arrow-marked babblers. That's one of those arrow-marked babblers. You can hear a woodpecker somewhere far in the distance. All the different sounds, all these things that are around you. Love it. Sorry. I think the other Franklins are that side of the road. This one was there we go. Come on, buddy. As we started moving, he was like looking up like, oh no, I'm going to get cut off from the rest. Or maybe just likes the attention. He's like, spend some more time with me. You guys always just look at the leopard, you never look at us Franklins. But we listen to the Franklins so often. He's scratching around some elephant dung. That's always a source for little bits of seeds and all bits of food that animals find in there, especially your birds. You often find Franklins, many different birds actually, scratching around an old elephant dung. Year after, we actually saw it the other day, and this is already end of the year, but in February we get the marula fruits, and the elephants eat a lot of them. And then in the months subsequent to that, even much later, but in the few months after that, you will find especially squirrels scratching around that dung and getting those seeds out, and they then collect them, and they can get through the very hard pip to the nuts that are inside. Very, very tasty nuts, by the way. It's commonly eaten in this area. I've eaten handfuls of it over the years. Very, very tasty nuts from the marula's pip that you can get out. Quite tough to get out. You have to have a big hammer or a good rock. Not that big, but very delicious. It's beautiful how the light is just catching the Franklin. You can see it's surrounded by shadow. Somewhere the sun is just finding a little hole through the brush. I was hoping a little call will happen, but it seems not. It's eating time. I don't want to make too much noise and attract attention. Excuse me. There's the whole world for you to run into. There we go. Thank you. Going down to that little secret waterhole I've been talking about. It's very difficult to see it from the vehicle. It's just in on the left hand side. It makes like a deep dip there. There's this lovely clean water that filters through the sand. Just here, very close to camp, just out in the dip. A lot of things drink water here without us ever knowing about it. It's this perfect little spot. Let's try and see, maybe we can actually glimpse it from this angle. No. deep in the sand there. Maybe, Brian, can you see it from there, you think? Yeah, there we go. I'll try and show you. It's not very big, but just the perfect size for a leopard or the bird life. There we go. Only seeing the bits of it. Sort of about a quarter or a third of the water of the little puddle you can see. The rest of it is this side under the bank. It's just a hollow there. I'm sure over the time there's a little bird flying down. Probably elephant dig it out a little bit, and warthogs maybe now and again wallow there, but it's in sand, it's not in mud. So it's really clean water. I mean, you can see some algae on it there now, but if you go up to the pond, it's a magic little place. And just a beautiful view as well, just down the drainage line. A couple of big trees leaning over it. So they're just hushed away from the rest of the world. Little guy. This is a bird we will almost never get to see, and that's exactly why. They're shy. It's a rattling cisticola, a tiny little brown bird like this. It's heard it calling close to us then. I thought maybe there's a chance. A rough imitation of what they sound like. Sunlight. What's that, Brian? Oh no, I think he's saying something. Hey, buffalo! And hippo yawning. Hey, big guy. Oh, he might give us another one. He seems to be a little bit in a yawnful mood. Just give him a little bit of time. Very impressive when hippos yawn, massive mouths, big teeth. They don't need the big teeth for feeding, they grass eaters. But they do use it a bit for defense, and of course in the case of the bulls, as we've seen with this old guy with the injuries, for fighting, and quite formidable weapons, often even killing each other, or injuries that result in the death of the other one. But it seems he's had enough of a yawn for now. We're going to stick around the waterhole a bit. We're just going to change our position slightly. Got a few dugger boys or buffalo bulls, these old bachelors, coming down for a drink. And yes, I think it's there. There's a water monitor on the log. There's the buffalo. Oh, it's to judge. We discussed it yesterday, that guy looking at us now. He reminds me of a bull we used to know here called the Judge. So we said the Judge too, but so we'll just call him to Judge. Great looking buffalo. I love this guy. He's got a fantastic sense of character and almost like being like a bruiser, you know. He's got this attitude about him that I really like. All the stories he could tell, the lions he chased off. A couple of oxpeckers sitting on him. Let's go see. It sounds like they're going into the water. Once again, amazing light. And we've got the buffalo. But we also have the monitor lizard. We've seen him a few times swimming, always a bit difficult to see him. This specific species is a water monitor, also called a Nile monitor sometimes. Whoa! Let me go slightly forward, so we're just around the corner from this bush. The hippo just gave a massive yawn. He might give another yawn or two because his buffalo are sort of in the edge of his water, so he might be a little bit sort of stroppy about it. Yes, to judge. Big guy. That's funny. So they'll go back in just now. One of those cases where you look around and suddenly there's 3 lions standing behind you that you didn't know were there. Here's the monitor lizard again, giving us his other side profile. And let's just keep an eye on things, see what these buffalo get up to, but I want to see if this hippo doesn't give us a nice big yawn. It's a blacksmith plover flying over us, also called a lapwing. Looks like, he's sneaking up on us. Little sneaky hippo. Yeah, let's see. Maybe he seems to be feeling a bit energetic. A couple of yawns when we came around, so let's see. Moving closer. He's most likely going to wait just until we leave before he yawns again. Now hippos can hold their breaths for quite a long time, 7-8 minutes if they want to. Although that's normally only during stressful conditions, if there's something really bothering them or upsetting them or something like that. Normally they go under for sort of 30 seconds to a minute. Brian, might be a little difficult, but I'd love it if we could see this. Excuse me. Excuse me, that was a fly that just went the wrong way. There was a little emerald spotted dove that I hope you could see, but he didn't like all that coughing. It flew away, so never mind the dove. Sorry guys. Always a odd sensation. I'll give this hippo a little bit more time. Well, perhaps he can wait longer than we can. Always great sitting next to a warthol. Hello Barisha, great question actually. Asking where does the nickname or the sort of, it's almost like a common name for them or a colloquial name for dugger boys that we refer to as these big bulls that are sort of living in bachelor groups. Barisha, as far as I know, it comes from, and this is the only story I know about it, is that guys that were building back in the old days mixing cement, or actually even earlier than that, mixing mud to make bricks with. And even today still, if you mix cement, that mixture is referred to, not everywhere, but quite commonly as dagga. And these buffalo, when they roll in mud, they often look like they're covered in this sort of cement-like paste. They love thick mud to roll in. As far as I know, that's where the term dagga boys come from. D-A-G-G-A, dagga. Let's have a good look at Mr. Tujaj. A couple of zebra around, impalas. Guys having a little fight with the bush there. Not really, he's just cleaning his horns. You get it quite often that buffalo will clean their horns against bushes and tree trunks, or if there's some flies annoying them, they will move through some thick brush to get the leaves to give them a little bit of respite from the bugs bugging them. It's a question there from Mary J. Bradley. Hello, Mary. Just asking why there's no females here. The females in the case of buffalo live, generally speaking, in quite big groups. When we saw a herd the other day, only about 30 or 40, but that's not common for this area. The typical size buffalo herd in these parts would be anything from 150 to 300-400 individuals. The biggest herd I have seen here in the Juma area was about 1,500 buffalo some years ago. So typically big groups, and the females stay in those herds for many reasons, but mainly because of safety. It is much safer in large groups like that, and that's where they spend their time. That does, however, mean that they need to cover lots of ground, a lot of walking to get to grazing. 100 to 300 buffalo eat a lot of grass, and they drink a lot of water, so they have to move relative to where water is available as well. Sorry, I've still got a little scratchiness to my throat from that bug. So that's why you often find these older bulls. These are guys that are not necessarily, but often past their breeding prime. So they're still big guys, but they're now making way for the younger males coming in when it comes to mating season, or otherwise they stay in these bachelor groups to get themselves into great condition and then re-enter the breeding herds again at some stage. But the benefit of these dagga boys, or these bachelor units, is that they're normally in small groups, 3-4 individuals like we've got here, up to 20 or 30 or so, seldom more than, I would say on average, probably about 3 to 15 bulls, or 3 to 10 bulls even. That's what you typically see them in. And the benefit for them is they are safe anyway, relatively speaking again. Big bulls like this, they're not necessarily more safe or less safe than they would be in a big herd. They can fight off predators. The only predator that can actually take down buffalo this size are lion, and even then it's lions that need to know what they're about. So they're quite safe, and that means they can not worry about the large numbers around them. And it also means that they can stay in nice areas, because there's not many of them. They can stay to areas like this where there's good grazing, there's lots of water close by, good place to go mud bathing if they want, and that works for them. So the females would always be in the breeding herds. You will not really see females with these small male groups. Hippo was just popping out again, but I think he's just messing with us. That's quite a nice sunset developing. So we get up there. Always great to see the sunset in Africa. or America, or Europe, or Asia, or Australia. It's not so nice though to see the sunset in like far northern Europe, because it sometimes sets for almost sort of 6 months. Kidding a little bit, but they do have the long days and then the long nights up in the north. I remember talking to Alexander Sletton about it. Alex was a very good friend and worked with WildEarth, doing all kinds of wildlife camera work all over the world now. He loves Africa. Never really get enough of looking at zebra. They're just so special in their markings. This is the stallion, so this is his little harem of females, his little herd. Looks like he's got 4 females in the group. Actually, now that I look again, looks like he's got 2 females in the group and 2 offspring from last year. But he's in good condition, very healthy. Got this nice broad stripes on the neck, which is not always the case, but often the case with stallions. You tend to see a little bit more broad striping on the necks and shoulders. And I love how it goes perfectly into the neck. Just look at how those stripes continue straight into the hair on the neck, so into the mane. That's Mr. Hippo down there. Go look at that sunset. Sure, it should be a nice one. Oh, this could actually be a spectacular sunset. With the perfect clouds in front of it. Let's go have a look. That's the first view of our rain shelter as well. You can just see it in the bottom of the sunset shot there. This is our plan. Luckily it wasn't needed this afternoon. It looked like rain earlier, it was threatening, and then it disappeared. I wonder what. We get some nice trees in the foreground, or should we try and get those impala? Let's see what we can play with as a foreground for that. It's absolutely stunning. Amazing rays there through the clouds. Let's try and get a couple of these impalas. There's a few of them standing on a termite mound almost. We'll play with a few different views. big marula trees here, beautiful shapes. Wildebeest have gone. It's quite a spectacular sky all the way around. I mean, the sunset is obviously beautiful. Stop for it just now. The sky in general, we've got amazing cloud formations all the way around us. Almost perfectly blue sky above us. Things that big, skies that big, views that make you feel the way you're feeling right now. It does make you just reflect on how amazing life is, how amazing nature is. What a true privilege it is to have places like this in the world where all the different animals that have always been here can still live and survive and do their thing day to day and see the sunset. A little look at these impala while the sun is setting behind them. This is the breeding herd that we've been watching over the last few days, and slowly but surely there's a few extra ones joining. There's now 4 lambs. I'm trying to remember now, Brian, can you remember, was it 3 or 4 this morning?
I can't.
3 or 4. It was less than one hand. We'll see again tomorrow. Hey. So gorgeous when they run. All legs in the beginning. That's a young male from last year. He'd be about a year old now. always alert. And you see those ear tips as well, almost look like a second set of eyes. So they're suddenly looking in the direction of something that they heard. If it was a predator, it would be very visually clear that, listen, something has spotted you. We're watching and we're listening. Very alert always, these groups. Not that they're taking turns, but effectively they're constantly taking turns to look around. So they'll eat a little bit, stop, look around, eat a little bit, stop, look around. And within the herd, they're all doing that the whole time. So there's always a number of eyes checking the surroundings, making sure everything's okay. And they'd be on extra alert at the moment because of all these little young ones that they've got with them. Hey little guys, you can see even these tiny ones, 1, 2, 3 days old, all the markings perfect. See those black stripes in the backside. We've got Jane just asking, and I think Jane, you've been on safari before. It's one of the old ranger jokes, or game ranger jokes, is they call the impalas the impalas the McDonald's of the bush, and that's because of those. Well, partly because of what looks like an M on the backside. That was something that was often joked about, but also because they tend to say that everyone eats them. They are, because of their size, they are preyed upon by quite a lot of different predators, which is also why they're sometimes referred to as a buffer species. In other words, they're the species that gives other species a bit of opportunity to grow their numbers sometimes, and it's a funny term to explain, but basically impalas can breed prolifically because they can adapt to quite a wide range of habitats. So they can eat grass, they can eat leaves, they can eat both, and because of that they do extremely well. You get a lot of impala in these areas, and because of the sort of size they fit into, they can be preyed on by quite a lot of your big predators. So to an extent they take the pressure slightly off some of the other species. Let's take a slow drive along. The sun is busy dipping away. I'm sure you're going to get some more color. There's so many different layers of cloud to catch the last light. James just asking what's the survival rate of those impala lambs. And James, I think that'll vary quite a bit year to year almost. So it's not just predators, but also rainfall, food availability, water availability, resources basically that'll play a role. Paul was saying that they recently did a study in the area that he's living on a game reserve, and it was about 30%. Sounds about right, but keep in mind also in the beginning a lot of animals are preying on the lambs, but obviously they're preying on impala as well over the rest of the year. So sounds about right. Think of it the other way around, impalas live to about 8-9 years old, so they would have to survive at least, what am I doing in the math there? So if a female has 6 lambs over the course of her life, she would have to have at least 2 of them survive to have the population stay the same. So you're looking at about 15 to 20% survival rate, if that makes any sense. Basically just if you're looking at numbers staying consistent, but that obviously changes a lot as well. You'll have growth in numbers and then dips in numbers again, the same as you find with predators and so on as well. Aiden is having a challenging afternoon following a leopard, not always the easiest thing, but he's found Kunyuma again. So enjoy the leopard and we'll see you back here in a little bit.
Well folks, it's been an extraordinary follow for this guy. We've been on him all afternoon. We have been through some of the most incredible country, down through drainage lines and everything, and he's settled just here. He was on the hunt. We stayed our distance from him, but he's just hasn't come across any game yet or any prey. He had a look at some zebras, but there wasn't any zebras there that were small enough for him. So he carried on, and he's just settled on the edge of this termite mound. I'm still trying to get one of the other guides in here, so please bear with me for a second, but we've got some beautiful vision of him just sitting on the side of that termite mound resting. He is an absolutely magnificent cat. Just looking at us now, and also keeping his eyes open for any potential opportunities. He's on the move. He's on the move, and this is perfect leopard hunting time. The afternoon shadows, or the sun's gone down, it's gotten a lot cooler, and we're just going to stay our distance from him and just watch where he goes. Heading west.
Okay mate, I've had to cut to you, I've cut to you.
Alright guys, well welcome back. We were just jumping off the vehicle for a few seconds, stretching our legs, still looking at that sky. seems that leopard is on the move again, and it's very, very difficult terrain. So not always the easiest to stay with it, even with the best vehicles in the world for this. So let's go look around a little bit more. Cicadas are making a big noise. I'm sure you can hear that. That sort of constant buzzing. It's a little insect that's almost impossible to spot. They look perfectly like tree bark where they sit. Let's go look around. Unplugged the radio there while we jumped off. This is why you heard a little bit of it as you came to us. Like we're gonna be surprised by something just now. I always feel like at this time of night, just when this sort of sunset time, I always feel like there's a surprise waiting just around the next corner, which is often the case. Many times over the years I've been surprised. Any time of the day I've been surprised by lion or leopard or elephant, all kinds of things in the middle of the day even. But this time of night, it's crepuscular time, sunset, sunrise, the surprises tend to happen a lot easier. Hey Vicky, making us laugh there. It's a good question, Vicky, or a funny question, and I presume it is meant partly as such. Vicky's just asking if we ever thought of planting different kinds of trees here, just to see what the elephants would do, or the animals would do, sorry. I'm thinking of elephants because they're the ones that most often respond to that kind of thing. Vicky, now firstly, it really is a wilderness, so there's no trees planted. I mean, at most, some places around the lodge areas, the grass is sometimes cut a little bit shorter, just as a fire break, you know, for safety reasons. but there's no trees planted. However, you do find in some of the old lodges, way back in the day, people would plant trees there, and depending on the kind of tree, animals either don't do anything with them, or they just eat them down to the ground. So it depends on what kind of tree. Animals are very quick to learn what they can and can't eat. Elephants are one of those, but no, there's no trees planted, and in fact a big move has been made over the last many years to remove exotic trees, remove areas that aren't part of a certain area. Not so much in this area. This area pretty much it is what it is. You've got some plants that came in from Argentina, for instance, about 100 years ago, like the red star zinnia or the khaki bush, that are now part of the habitats. They can't be removed, but other invaders like lantana and so forth, that's removed when found. What I'm talking about now is actually more up towards the escarpment into the mountains area. There they remove exotic trees that shouldn't be there, but we don't plant any trees here. Guys, we're back. Near a helicopter way in the distance there, that's part of the park management. That's lazy days for buffalo bulls. Bit of a wallow in the water, nice way to cool down. You can see the last of the sunlight now reflecting off the water. The sun is pretty much set. You still have a nice sort of pastel sky. Slight, I was going to say orange, but it's not even orange anymore. It's like a beige color now. And then the grays and the light blues, which will soon make way tonight, and the dark blues. And I think some stars tonight as well. Not that many clouds. That was an odd sound, but that sounded like an elephant. Yes, elephants. Let's go a little bit forward. Oh, let's give him a minute to lie down. Oh, that must feel good. Cool down a bit after a hot day. Let's have a look. It's below the... Oh, it's a breeding herd. Or a little breeding herd. There we go. Hello. Smelling there. Oh, this is going to be quite cool. We can have a view from above. We're right on the wall of the waterhole. Ah, that's awesome. And this is our herd that we haven't seen actually for the last week or so, but we saw them a lot the first week or so that we started, the first 2 weeks. This is the lead female, or the matriarch almost. What is it now? Am I confusing her? No, sorry, this is not who I thought it was. Okay, I thought she looks a bit big. Now I thought I recognized the ear marks, but then I looked at the trunk. Not the ones I thought they were, but lovely elephants. Looks like 2 adult females, a couple of youngsters, and they should come out just in front of us here. Go a little bit forward. What they will most likely do is go around and then drink on the side here. So I will try and put us in a good spot to see them. work. There they come. Coming out from the bushes. Not the matriarch in front, one female. Just here to the right. And then one youngster, and there's the big matriarch coming out as well. See the matriarch, a little bit of a high head posture. One more youngster to come. I think that's the group. So 2 adult females, 2 youngsters, and sort of a juvenile, almost sub-adult. And it looks like they're thirsty, just the way they walk down to the water. Yep, they're very thirsty. Maybe they had a drink this morning, but I don't think they've had anything to drink during the day. Interesting to see that they, quite often I think people think the trunk is like a straw, they can just drink water through it. They actually suck water up into the trunk, and then they blow it back into the mouth or into the stomach after that. What an awesome setting. They can drink big elephants. Now we're talking like the matriarch or big bulls. They can drink 14, 15 liters of water, or pick up in their trunks about that much in one go. So for a big bull elephant, they need to drink anything from 150 to 200 plus liters of water a day. That's in gallons about, I always forget, because if I remember correctly, there's a slight difference in the UK gallon and the English and the American gallon, but it's about 4.5, so 150 would be 35, 40 gallons. So yeah, between 30 and 50 gallons of water a day for a big elephant. And Chester was just asking if they need to drink every day. Yes, they do. They can go, if need be, a couple of days without water. It's not ideal. Same as humans, we can go 1 or 2 or 3 days without water, but then you're starting to really take strain. Elephants prefer to be able to drink every day. And if there's water plenty, they'll even drink twice a day. Oh, that's always great. Bit of a mud bath, good for cooling down. Also good for getting rid of little things that might be on the skin, little ticks, little fleas. And I think other times I just enjoy it. It feels good. Nice bit of attitude from her. And that's the matriarch, so when she decides to go, the rest will follow. Here comes the young little ones just behind her. She's probably going to give us a bit more attitude when she comes out behind these trees, just to make sure that there's a comfortable place for the young ones to leave from. Oh, she's going to give us a bit of a head shake.
Yep. Now we're on to go.
Hey little guys. There's the other female following. You can see the much smaller head proportionate to the body. And also a squarer head, not as round as the bulls. We discussed it earlier this afternoon. The bulls are much bulkier, not only in body but also in sort of the whole shape of it, the head, shoulders. Well, that was very fortunate to have heard them, seen them. They were just down here and they're going back down into the drainage line again, so that was very good timing. Starting to get a bit dark now. Comes. They do blend into their surroundings quite well. Just going to turn around up ahead here. Just listening to Aiden on the radio there. The leopard they were following seems to got too thick, the bush got too difficult, but Kunyuma was heading or is heading in the general direction of where we are, so might pop out here, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, maybe even less, depends on how fast he moves. I mean, a leopard moving at this time of the night can cover a lot of ground quite quickly, or can take an hour to cover a very short distance depending on what they encounter on the way. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Magic times. leopard. Look at that. Gee, that was amazing. I thought it was a hyena at first. I didn't know what it was. But this looks like, let's get the other spotlight on before I switch the engine off. I'm not sure who this is. I don't think this can be Kunyuma. It's too far away from where Hayden had him earlier. So we'll have to see who this is. Maybe Quarantine, maybe his brother. Buffalo going through the water. Oh, whoa, all happening around us. Sorry, Tofik won't be able to see it, but I'm just looking over my shoulder. The one hippo that was in the water just chased the buffalo for some reason. And I think whoever this is coming down for a drink. My gut feeling tells me Quarantine, perhaps. It is a male. He's definitely, well, definitely, that's a strong word for this. But he looks bigger than Kunyuma. It's not a mature big male yet, so it's not Mvula, it's not Tingana. My gut feeling is, for now, Quarantine, who is the brother to the leopard you've been watching with Hayden earlier. Let's quickly call this in. There's one of the game drives really looking for a leopard as well, so let's just give him a hand. Craig again. Voyatela Dam. Who is this? Yeah, it's Quarantine. Yes, it's Quarantine. Moving one Madora Ingwe, I think Quarantine. I'll get a positive ID just now coming down to Puzamati. That's so awesome. I will give you 100% confirmation just now, but I just saw a couple of spots on his head that spells Emmett in Morse code. That's one of the ways that I recognized him the other day. He's keeping a bit of an eye on those buffalo. Oh, he's just gorgeous. Isn't that just amazing? Amazing. Yeah, it says Quarantine definite. And he's going to disappear behind us. I'm going to have to turn a little bit. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, I tell you. That's just amazing. 2 leopards in one day, 2 brothers as well. Maybe tomorrow we see the mother. Karula is my all-time favorite leopard of all time by a long shot of all time. That makes the point well enough. That's their mother. This is her 4th litter of cubs. I was very fortunate that I knew the first 2. She had 2 girls the first time, called Tandi and Shadow now, Seseka and Tingana back then. Then she had 2 boys in Duna and Misho, King and Sunrise, or King and Daybreak. Then her 3rd litter was a boy and a girl. I didn't know them. And then the 4th litter are these 2 guys, Quarantine and Kunyuma. Guys, what a view. Just look at that. In the last few minutes, we have seen elephant, buffalo, leopard, right from where we are here at this waterhole. This is just an amazing example of how rich this area is in big wildlife, in all wildlife. But 3 of the big 5 in the space of about as many minutes. Unbelievable. I knew there was a leopard around, Mike. Not just my gut, but my gut played a big role the last 48 hours. I've been seeing the tracks here and there. I've heard the monkeys. He's looking for a good place to go and drink. Interestingly enough, he actually avoided those buffalo. That's why he walked this way. Not that I blame him. They weigh a good 800-900 kilograms, and they're not known for having the best of tempers all the time. And he's also careful. He's a young leopard. He's not even 2. He'll be 2 in December. So he is aware of the fact that at a waterhole there might be other leopard, there might be other predators, there might be buffalo or elephants, as we've just seen in the last few minutes. So always wary of bumping into something. You can see him being very alert to his surroundings. Sorry guys, let me just get that nice and steady. There we go. The guy is lapping up the water. He's still a bit wary. He's looking at those buffalo. They're far away from him, but he's very alert. He's in the sort of final stages of becoming fully independent. What I mean with that, he is living an independent lifestyle already. He's not relying on his mother for food anymore. He's catching his own food. He's moving on his own, but he is staying within the territorial boundaries, if you want, of where he grew up, of Karula's area. So he's still technically under the protection of his mum and to an extent of his dad, Mvula, who is who is the father of these cubs, because I've seen Kunyuma, and Kunyuma looks just like his father. Oh, that is amazing light. I'll speak to Craig quickly, standing by. Sitting on the dam wall at the moment, looking at him drink, so straight to the wall.
Give him that.
Ah, that's stunning. Let's try and just get this a bit steadier. There we go. Look at those eyes. Can you hear the spotted thickneys or spotted duckop, the birds calling there? He's listening and looking every now and again. And like the other animals, like the elephants just now, he's thirsty. It's been a hot day. The cool of the evening is just settling in. He's got a big night ahead of him. There's another game drive vehicle just joined us as well. Look at the reflecting patterns on him from the water, from the light on the water. Oh. They are absolutely mesmerizing. You know, I sit with leopard. Every time I see them like this, I just think it can't get better than this. See them like this is just such a privilege and such a rare pleasure. You get this feeling from observing and of sharing and of sensing a moment like this that I almost can't describe. The only way you can really do it is to share it, is to have you here as you are now, sharing it with us. To tell people about this just doesn't do it justice. You have to share it, you have to feel it. And then of course that first moment, that millisecond, when you suddenly realize you're looking at a leopard. 1 minute there's nothing, and the next minute you know there's a leopard right in front of you. That is just a feeling that is amazing. Interestingly enough, he doesn't look very full, but he does have a little bit of a belly, so might be that he's had a kill in this area or something to eat. This tracks has been around. I mean, keep in mind, Kunyuma was here only 2 days ago. With that amazing view we had up against the sort of early evening sky, and we hunted that young wildebeest. Only 48 hours later, we're looking at his brother. And these two won't really interact too much anymore, but it's also not unlikely that they would. I mean, they've grown up until only a few weeks, a few months ago. They were side by side every single day, all the time. Look at that face. The light just dancing across him. Next time we get a leopard like this drinking, we can have a few volunteers to count how many times do they lap the water. It can be sometimes 1,000 or 2,000 times, just for interest's sake, but this is a thirsty cat. Just out of interest, leopards do not actually need to drink water every day. They are largely water independent, but obviously when there is water, when it's available, they will drink, often 2 or 3 times a day. Oh, look at that reflection as well. Shadow in the night. Craig, I'm at 99.9% sure it's quarantine. I haven't had... Great to know that H2 could join us here as well. He's been through some thick bush this afternoon following this guy's brother. Oh, let's see where he goes. He might come and walk right past us. We might go down the bank here. Dip my light down a bit. Sometimes I feel like I'm also not allowed to speak when he's that close. It's just so, it's like a spell. Craig, do you want to light him for a bit? Craig? Craig? Yeah? Put your light on him. Thank you. Guys, this should also look quite too lit, too little. Yeah, we'll put some on. Look at the shadow there from him. Going into his favourite area, this drainage line that we've been scouring for leopard the last few days. Oh, there we go. That's the... It's just very difficult. I'm just lighting very carefully now because I'm shining down into him. I don't want to get it in his face. He's definitely got something in his belly, not just water. So I think he's got a kill here somewhere. That makes for a very exciting morning. We're going to have to find him again in the morning. Oh, that's nice coarse river sand. Yeah, there's definitely some food in that belly. So we've got some more leopard looking to do in the morning. I was going to say leopard hunting, but that might be taken the wrong way. But we're going to be hunting leopard in the morning. Definitely, we're going to try and find this guy. If he's got a kill here somewhere, we want to find that. We want to see where he is, find him up in the tree if possible. He might come and drink here again tomorrow as well. So this is extra good news for us. We also know that his brother Kunyuma, that was with HT earlier, is heading this way. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow morning we're in for a treat and we see both males together. Maybe for the last time we see them with Karula. We haven't seen her for quite a few days now. And even though these males are separate from her now, they are not independent yet. They are still living under her roof, if you want. So it is not impossible that we might have a last treat, maybe tomorrow, of the two boys and Karula together. It's a long shot, but it's not impossible. We've had so much magic the last couple of weeks, last few days. So much that we enjoyed, so no reason why we can't wish for more magic. And I would absolutely love it to see Karula with one, or with even better with both of her boys. Interesting, you see how he pops his head up? That's an alarm call from that bird, and he's reacting to that. I don't know why that is. Craig?
Yes.
Is there something else at the water? What's that plover calling about?
What?
No, I'm just hearing that alarm call. What's that about?
I don't know, I was busy chatting now.
Oh, okay, no, just the plover suddenly started calling. Just only, I'm going to take my light off the leopard because we've got such a great view. Craig will have a quick look with his light.
I actually mentioned that Kunyuma might be heading up towards
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Oh, we've got
is it possible if
big wind picking up as well.
I still got to wait back there to...
Yes. Guys, we're going to have to just move a little bit. Craig has got to come past one of the other vehicles. We're just going to turn around. He's going to sit right there. Make some space here for...
Thanks a lot, Pete.
Pleasure, man. Have a nice evening.
Wow.
Here's the other vehicle. That's Hayden. Yeah, there he is, still in the sand. Hey. HD, you copy? HD? H, just put your light on him, please. Using light. Great. H is going to put his light on as well. H, I'm going to switch my light off and we just get a little bit of side lighting. If you want to light him for us. good nap, huh? It's the river sand. That is about the equivalent of a perfect bed for us. A little bit of a hollow there maybe for the belly. As I said, it's an extra bonus for us, the fact that he looks like he has eaten, so it means he's got to be around here somewhere. We'll have to do some careful tracking in the morning. See the ears just every now and again just listening. Put your light full on him. Well, that's the life. I'm not necessarily just talking about the leopard. It's been an absolutely fantastic afternoon. All kinds of things, the elephants, surprise a leopard at Treehouse Dam, the hippo story that we still must see where it ends, and just lots to enjoy. The sunset, I must say, was a very special one as well. So it's been a lovely afternoon in the African bush here, and I'm just going to say thank you very much as always for joining us here. Without you, this wouldn't be possible for all of us.